Look at this. Isn't it a fantastic clock? It's a housewarming gift. Please accept it. With these words, Amanda handed me a large wrapped item, which I hurriedly took even before stepping inside. Amanda, standing at the entrance, was beaming at me with a big smile. As she said, inside was indeed a clock. It was a wooden wall clock, adorned with a small birdhouse on top of the dial. I imagined pigeons or little birds popping out at certain times. I thanked her and accepted the gift, but then something sparkling caught my eye. Drawn by the glimmer, I stared at it intently. Suddenly, a wave of anger surged through me. Acting on impulse, I swung the clock with both hands and smashed it against a garden stone right in front of my startled mother-in-law, Amanda. My name is Jennifer. I'm 30 years old, working in administrative tasks at a factory. My father works there too, and he always said that manufacturing isn't just about on-site work. It's also supported by those behind the scenes. Perhaps influenced by this, I've been drawn to behind-the-scenes roles since childhood. During school festivals, when we put on plays, I would manage props rather than act, and I also managed the baseball team in my club activities. I might not have been in the spotlight, but there were always people who noticed me. Their simple thank yous made me feel valued. That's why I aimed for an administrative position when job hunting. Initially inspired by my admiration for my father, I wanted to work in administration at a factory. However, those positions favored people with specialized knowledge or experience, and I couldn't secure a job at my desired places. My first job was an administrative position at a retail store, but I couldn't let go of my dream to work in a factory. While working, I studied machinery extensively and prepared for a career change. After 3 years, I gained enough experience to aim for a new job. Fortunately, I was hired for an administrative position at a factory of my choice and now handle behind-the-scenes tasks there every day. It was at this workplace that I met Daniel, my future husband. Daniel is a senior colleague who works on site, 2 years older than me. Despite working behind the scenes, I always had great respect for the on-site workers. Daniel, in particular, was always cheerful no matter how busy he got, lifting the spirits of the entire workplace. He was very dedicated to his work and considerate towards both on-site and administrative staff. We grew closer after sitting next to each other at the company's year-end party. We bonded over discussions about machinery and manufacturing. I enjoyed learning from Daniel, who had a deeper knowledge than I did. It didn't take long for our relationship to blossom. 2 years into dating, we took our first trip together to Hawaii, a place I had always wanted to visit. On the last day of the trip, Daniel proposed to me at a restaurant in our hotel. It happened after we finished our dessert during a fancy full-course dinner, commemorating our last night there. I'm so full. This really has been the best trip from start to finish, I said. For the final part, Daniel said, raising his hand to call the waiter. To my surprise, a cake was brought out. "Huh? We just had dessert, didn't we?" I gasped, covering my mouth. Written on the cake was, "Will you marry me?" Right there, Daniel got down on one knee and opened a ring box, revealing a diamond ring. "Will you marry me?" I was so overwhelmed hearing those words directly from Daniel that I couldn't speak. I could only nod with tears streaming down my face. There was applause from the waiters and other customers around us, making it feel like a flash mob. Embarrassing but unforgettable. I was very happy, but there was one thing I was concerned about. It happened when I went to Daniel's house to announce our engagement. "I've heard about you. You're a very hardworking and sincere young woman. By the way, how old are you, Jennifer?" Amanda asked me. "I will be 28 years old," I replied. "What? I hope everything is fine with having grandchildren." "I was expecting a younger bride," she said. Immediately, Daniel stepped in. "Mom, stop talking about that. We are about to get married. Don't be rude." But Amanda didn't seem convinced. "I want to have children and hope to conceive as soon as possible," but Amanda's words upset me. Moreover, after getting married, I was supposed to live with Daniel's parents. Daniel, who had been living at home, suggested it. The house was close to my workplace, so I couldn't easily refuse. After the marriage, Amanda kept saying things like, "My friends' grandchildren are so cute. I want to have mine soon, and I want to play with my grandchildren as soon as possible." Eventually, she even started meddling in our intimate life, saying things like, "Jennifer, are you measuring your body temperature properly? You know there are methods like the something-something method. You really have to think about making babies." But I found it difficult to get pregnant and gradually became anxious. Daniel and I decided to go to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor told us, there is no problem with your husband, but your uterus has a slightly complex shape, making it difficult for the embryo to implant. Does that mean I can't get pregnant? I asked hesitantly. The doctor replied, scientifically, it's not completely impossible. However, there are no known cases of pregnancy in this situation in the United States. So the problem is with me, I said. It was clear that my body had issues with getting pregnant. The moment I was told this, I broke down and cried to Daniel. I felt like I was failing in my role as a woman and started blaming myself. Daniel tried to comfort me by saying, it's okay, but no matter what he said, I couldn't shake off the feeling that it was my fault. Daniel himself seemed lost for words, which made me feel even worse. From that day on, I found it hard to focus on housework and my job, and Amanda started to worry about me. I'm okay. I'm just tired from work, I would reply, but it was clear that I was depressed, and both Daniel and I were acting differently. Amanda noticed and said, something is wrong, isn't it? Talk to me. The atmosphere in this house is getting depressing. Reluctantly, Daniel and I decided to tell Amanda about what the doctor had said. I couldn't respond, but Daniel said, Mom, that's no way to talk. But Amanda continued, I knew it. I should never have let you marry her. I had a bad feeling about her from the start. I checked if grandchildren would be possible, didn't I? Blaming Jennifer won't solve anything, Mom. It's not her fault. Daniel defended me. But Amanda kept going, it's obviously the bride's fault, and you, Daniel, should have listened to my advice. Enough is enough, Mom. You're going too far, Daniel said firmly. Why are you taking her side? Amanda snapped, storming off to her room. Don't worry about it, Jennifer. You don't have to mind her. Daniel tried to comfort me. Daniel, actually, I've been thinking about this too, I said hesitantly. What do you mean? He asked, concerned. I think it's too painful for you to stay with me. You want to have children, right? But you can't have them with me. I think it would be better for us to break up. Daniel took my hands in his. I married you because I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Jennifer. Whether we can have children or not, as long as we can live together, that's all that matters to me. Please stop thinking about breaking up just because we can't have children. Tears welled up in my eyes at Daniel's warm words. After learning about the results of the examination, my mother-in-law Amanda really wanted a grandchild. She started to harass and be nasty to me because I couldn't have children. When my father-in-law or Daniel was around, they would protect me. However, Amanda didn't like that, and she would be mean when the two of them weren't there. I would consult with Daniel about it every day, but I was worried that if Amanda thought I was tattling to Daniel, it might make her even angrier. Daniel didn't say anything directly, but he did his best to keep Amanda and me apart. Still, Amanda's mean behavior didn't stop, and both Daniel and I were at our wits' end. Finally, Daniel couldn't take it anymore and confronted Amanda. We have our own circumstances in this marriage. What do you want from Jennifer? Isn't it enough that she lives here with us? Stop being so mean to her. Amanda snapped back in rage. Quiet. I will not accept a daughter-in-law who can't give me grandchildren. Why would you say something like that? I can't live with you anymore. This is not fair to Jennifer. We're moving out. Angry, Daniel declared that we were going to live separately. In fact, we had been looking for a new place for quite a while, so we started to seriously consider our options. Initially, we were searching for a rental that we could move into immediately, but we couldn't find a place that met our expectations. So we reevaluated our budget, considering our living expenses, and we both agreed that building a new house would be a better option for our future. Though we couldn't move as quickly as we could have if we rented, thanks to Daniel confronting Amanda, my father-in-law also started to keep a closer eye on Amanda to ensure she didn't mistreat me. So we were able to move on the scheduled day without any major issues. We thanked my father-in-law and moved into our new house. Life without Amanda was blissful. Just a week after our move, my father-in-law called with an apology. I'm sorry, it seems Amanda found out your new address. She snooped around and discovered a note with it written down. We hadn't told her to avoid trouble, but she insists on coming over now. Hours later, Amanda and my father-in-law arrived. When I opened the door, Amanda stood there holding bags while my father-in-law looked apologetic. I hesitated, wanting to shut the door, but Amanda quickly spoke up. I'm sorry for making you uncomfortable. I hope we can start fresh. Her humility surprised me, and I glanced at Daniel, bewildered. Amanda didn't push to enter. Instead, she handed me a large package. This is a housewarming gift. Put it in your bedroom for good feng shui. The salesperson said it's perfect for that. Taking the package, I started to thank her, but Amanda avoided eye contact and turned to leave with my father-in-law. Well then, we'll be off. Take care and be happy together, she said as they turned to leave. Wait, you just got here. Are you leaving already? Daniel asked, puzzled. I'm sorry, son. This is Amanda's way of apologizing. She didn't want to intrude. We just came to drop off this gift, my father-in-law explained, smiling apologetically as Amanda led him away. I sensed Amanda's remorse, yet a faint smirk played on her lips. Encouraged by Daniel's curiosity, I decided to open the package right there. Inside was a wooden wall clock adorned with a small birdhouse ornament, resembling a cuckoo clock. As I touched it, I noticed something peculiar. Without a word, I lifted the clock high with both hands and smashed it onto a nearby garden stone. The shattering sound made Amanda turn around in shock, while Daniel and my father-in-law stared, mouths agape. Daniel's voice rang out in disbelief. What are you doing? Mom tried to apologize with that gift, and you're reacting like this. Apologize to Mom right now. Amanda, covering her mouth, muttered, How could you? My father-in-law remained speechless, stunned by my actions. I took deep breaths, trying to calm down, then knelt and retrieved something from the debris of the broken clock. Can you still defend her after seeing this? I showed Daniel a particular component from inside the clock. What? What is this? Why is this here? Daniel clenched his fists, his anger palpable. This is part of a camera and a voice recognition device, Daniel said, shocked. I could see my father-in-law's disbelief out of the corner of my eye. When I touched the birdhouse, something felt off. The door didn't move as it should have. I initially thought it was just a decorative piece, but then I noticed a small, round black hole at its center. When sunlight hit it, I glimpsed something glinting inside, a camera lens. Amanda, you claim ignorance, but why would there be a camera inside this? I have no idea. Even after I showed her the components, Amanda shook her head, feigning innocence. Yet her complexion paled visibly. This is absurd. Mom, you knew about this, didn't you? If we hung this in our bedroom, you could have watched and listened to everything. My father-in-law's shock mirrored Daniel's anger. Why would you give us something like this? What were you thinking? Daniel demanded. Oh, come on. Why did you have to notice? It would have been much easier if you had just accepted it quietly. But you, my daughter-in-law, Amanda retorted, unashamed. What are you talking about? You're the one who planted a spying device. Why would you do such a thing? Daniel confronted Amanda, his voice shaking with fury. I was worried whether my daughter-in-law was fulfilling her duties as a wife properly at night. I thought maybe the reason you two haven't had children isn't physical but mental, so I wanted to ensure she was behaving properly in the bedroom. And if not, I planned to push for a divorce. It wouldn't have been good for you, Daniel. Amanda snapped back, her frustration evident. Daniel, equally angry, confronted her sternly. I've told you I'm perfectly happy with how things are, and there's no way you could have set up this clock by yourself. Is there someone else involved in this? To this, Amanda replied, if I had an accomplice who shared my sentiments, it could have been executed even more flawlessly. I had a clockmaker acquaintance of mine specially craft this clock with a built-in camera and microphone. What have you done? Do you understand how terrible this is? My father-in-law exclaimed, prompting Amanda to hurl stones at the fence. The worst one here is your wife. She can't even bear children, yet she had the audacity to marry you. What about my grandchildren? Stop it right now, my father-in-law intervened, restraining Amanda. I'm sorry for this. We're leaving now, he apologized, guiding Amanda into the car and driving away. Standing there bewildered, Daniel turned to me and said, I'm sorry. My mom said some really awful things. It's not your fault, Daniel. Afterward, I couldn't help but wonder about Amanda and my father-in-law. I wanted nothing to do with Amanda anymore, but I worried about how my father-in-law would handle the situation and what our relationship with Amanda would be in the future. A few days later, I received a call from my father-in-law. I'm really sorry about the other day, were his first words. I actually wanted an apology from Amanda, not him. He hadn't done anything wrong. No, Dad, are you okay after all that? Daniel asked, concerned. We had a big argument afterward. A lot of things came out during that. It turns out Amanda has been making disparaging remarks and harassing not just Jennifer, but others as well. I was surprised. I had no idea she treated other people the same way. Wait, what do you mean? Daniel was equally shocked, seeking clarification from his father. There's a woman in our neighborhood who can't have children, and apparently Amanda has also made snide remarks and harassed her, so she's been behaving this way towards strangers, not just family. It appears so. When I confronted her about mistreating Jennifer, she admitted to targeting other women who she deemed useless for not having children. I was appalled. The revelations were deeply disturbing. She's been doing all this behind our backs. Daniel's voice trembled with anger as his father attempted to pacify him. Let me explain, his father urged, attempting to calm the tense atmosphere. Calm down. How can I when my own mother is behaving like this? It's infuriating and shameful. Don't you feel the same, Dad? Daniel's frustration was palpable. You're right. That's why I immediately apologized to the affected families. But I also discovered that a few houses down, another daughter-in-law suffered severe verbal abuse from Amanda, which drove her into depression. They moved away years ago. I'm worried about our reputation in the neighborhood, and I can't tolerate this any longer, my father-in-law confessed, clearly distressed. I've decided to file for divorce. I was taken aback, but Daniel remained composed and supportive. I understand. Are you going to be all right, Dad? His father spoke calmly, as if he had already made his decision. I'm planning to move out of this house as well. I owe it to our neighbors to set things right. Don't worry about me. I've already found a new place through a friend. Once everything is settled, I'll relocate. I wanted to inform you because Amanda might come your way now that I've asked her to leave today. I'm concerned about that. Even in his own turmoil, he still cared for us deeply. I understand. We'll handle it if she comes here. Once again, I apologize. I'll be in touch once I'm settled. With that, he politely ended the call. Thanks to Daniel putting the phone on speaker, I heard the entire conversation. A few hours later, Amanda arrived at our doorstep with her bags. Please help me. He kicked me out after the divorce. I have nowhere else to go. Let me stay here, she pleaded as soon as she arrived. Why did Dad divorce you? Was it solely because of this recent incident? Daniel questioned her sternly. Well, there are reasons, Amanda replied evasively. We've heard everything from Dad, Daniel retorted, catching her off guard. So you've mistreated not only Jennifer but also other daughters-in-law in the neighborhood. Amanda's eyes widened in surprise. Well, and because of your mistreatment, one of them even suffered from depression. Daniel Hughes. That's an exaggeration. There's no proof it was my fault. You're making me out to be a criminal. And how can a woman not bear children? I went through so much to give birth to you, and now I can't even see my own grandchildren because of her. Just looking at her makes me sick, Amanda snapped, her anger flaring. Mom, happiness isn't solely defined by having children, Daniel responded calmly but firmly. I understand that, but please let me stay here for now, Amanda pleaded. I'm sorry, but that's not possible. I've chosen to be happy with Jennifer. I can't continue living with you the way things are. You need to reflect on your actions. Why not? You're my son. I gave birth to you and raised you. Show some respect, Amanda insisted, her tone growing desperate. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but this is a different situation, Daniel replied calmly. Why? Just let me stay. Amanda's frustration boiled over, and she began throwing things from the entryway toward us. Realizing there was no reasoning with her, we decided to call the police. We managed to keep Amanda outside until the officers arrived. They escorted her away. I'm so angry. What's going to happen to me now? I never want to see your face again, Amanda shouted in frustration as the police intervened. I silently agreed, thinking to myself, well, you didn't have to come here in the first place. It seemed the police had given her a stern warning because she never returned to her house again. Shortly after, Daniel's father made the decision to move. Surprisingly, he found an apartment within walking distance of our home. If she ever shows up, I'll handle it, he assured us, which was a relief. During a housewarming visit to his new place, we asked about Amanda's current situation. She's living in public housing now. It's affordable housing for seniors and those with special circumstances, he explained. We used to live in a place like that, didn't we? I remarked. Yes, similar to that. Back then, families with children had priority for those apartments, he reminisced. Is she working? Daniel asked, somewhat surprised at the idea of Amanda holding a job. She started working part-time, but her employment history is shaky. After so many years as a housewife, she struggles with interpersonal relationships, often causing conflicts that lead to job losses. It's become a cycle of finding new part-time work, he detailed. I see. Well, I didn't expect it to be easy. It's good to hear she's making an effort to work, Daniel acknowledged. By the way, how do you keep up with her current situation? Do you stay in touch with her? I try not to stay in touch, but after so many years together, I can't help but worry. I check in occasionally to see how she's doing. It's better to know her situation in case there are issues that could affect you and Daniel. Daniel's father explained, showing a lingering concern for Amanda's well-being despite everything. Well, currently she's not holding down a steady job, so she's living somewhat depressingly on welfare, he added. Meanwhile, we decided to bring a dog into our lives. One day, while browsing a pet store, we came across a toy poodle. Hey, this little one just made eye contact with me, didn't it? I exclaimed excitedly. Me too. So cute, Daniel joined in. When we checked its birth date, I was thrilled. Daniel, look at its birthday. What about it? Oh, that's the same day you proposed to me in Hawaii. Doesn't it feel like fate? Feeling a sense of destiny, we decided to bring this young toy poodle home with us. Since then, we've been doting on this dog as if it were our own child. Additionally, with Daniel's father living nearby, he started visiting us frequently, making our family life lively and cheerful.